ॐ नमः श्री अतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. Good evening, friends. So, great introduction. Thank you very much. Just one correction. I am not coming to this Dallas Center from 2007. 2007 is when my location was changed from California to Florida, but I am coming from way before that. Yeah, when this temple was not built, when the other shrine was inaugurated, from then onwards. In the beginning, I was coming from California, from San Diego Center. On Kalpataru Day celebrations, I used to come. But after I was relocated in Florida, because of the responsibility there, I could not come on 1st January. It was important there also. So it was rearranged as Swamiji's birthday celebration I had become. So I really like very much, and I have been watching with great interest the growth of this center and how it has developed, not only physical development, but also the participation. Tonight it doesn't appear like lots of people could come. Perhaps it is the weather-related situation, it is too cold. But many young members and devotees have come, and it makes me very pleased. So I picked the topic tonight and for tomorrow. I called it Narendra Accepts the Job. And that is very clear. Narendra is Narendra, our very dear Narendra. Without Narendra, we would not be here today. We have to be very clear about that. It was not the job of Sri Ramakrishna to change our mind or anybody's mind. It was Narendranath who was instrumental in bringing everybody that whatever we understand about religion, about Sanatana Dharma, about Hinduism, about the necessity of practicing religion, or what we are going to get out of this religion. Everything has been cleared, clarified in our mind, spoken in our language, explained it in a wonderful way, not by Sri Ramakrishna. He may be our Ishtadevata, and this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is a wonderful, wonderful spiritual source of our religion. But whatever clarity has come to the world today, to the world I am saying, and specifically to those who are following the Vedic religion, the Sanatana Dharma, whatever clarity and whatever understanding and whatever enthusiasm and interest into this practice of religion, it is on account of Swamiji. So we cannot say enough to Swamiji about how much we owe to him, how much gratitude, thanks. Had he not come with Sri Ramakrishna, had he not accepted the job of being the chief executive of his mission, the mission that he founded, He founded, yes, in a very nascent way, in a subtlest way. But to actually implement the job, build the huge empire of the religion of this day, of this modern world, that was developed single-handedly by Swami Vivekananda. So, thank you, Narendra Datta, for accepting the job of the Chief Executive Officer. So let us start from the very beginning. And beginning is about that very clear cut, the precise, like a mantra, it was told to us, the beginning is yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, etc., etc. Abhyutthanaaya dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That proclamation, it is so crystal clear and it removes all doubt. After many talks and many classes, lectures, and there is a question-answer session and people start asking questions, this mantra doesn't leave any doubt from anybody's mind that a question could be asked. Everything is clear. And that the God, the power behind the entire creation, the unmanifest, which is the cause of everything that is manifest here, with the help of his divine Shakti, that power which is appearing in all these different interesting and wonderful Leela, that power from time to time has to come back. And come back to bring the train on the track again, which has become derailed. The vehicle has gone out of its track and it has lost all clues. Where it is going, what it is doing, everything is lost. The soul inside, the destiny of the soul, what is the purpose, why we are living here. Everything, when everything gets confused, then when it is not possible for the people to solve this problem themselves, there are so many different kinds of explanations and so many different kinds of conversation, talks, arguments, counter-arguments going on, and it is a total chaos when that happens. And the purpose is lost. The purpose, the goal of human life is lost. Goal has been set again and again in course of time. Sakale neha mahata yogo nasta parantapa. Again in Bhagavad Gita. That because of this great power of, or the mysterious power of Kala, the time, this wisdom is lost and people get confused. So whenever that happens, then God has to come back again. When it is not possible for ordinary people, very intelligent, intellectual or spiritually very advanced, wise, with right kind of attitude or interest, they are unable to set everything right. then God has to come. And it has happened again and again. So when he comes, we see that he doesn't come just by himself, because it is a very different thing to create a spiritual powerhouse or lighthouse, and also to disseminate the power or the light from door to door, go everywhere and reach out to everybody. It is not possible for the same person or the authority, or even in the same body, whoever appears, the incarnation. It is not possible for him to do everything. Because on one hand, it is a sattvic job, to actually develop the spiritual authority and to work in a very dynamic way, in a very powerful way, to make inroads into the society and reach out to hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands and millions, and develop some kind of an institutional, organizational setup so that it will last for a longer period of time. This is not a pure sattvic activity. All sattva, rajas, tamas, all the three different kinds of aspects of the divine Shakti, they have got their own needs and their own way of working, how they work and why they are there. We cannot say that this is inferior and therefore it is not needed. Let us remove it from the creation. The creation will fall apart. So all sattva, rajas, tamas, everything needs to be there. And they have got their own jobs cut out. Swami Saradanandaji Maharaj, when he was writing the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, which is called Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga in Bengali, later on in English translation became the Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master. There he has clarified this thing, that in the case of Sri Ramakrishna, the deterioration of the society has gone to the level, it has become so deeply darkened a place, to again rise from there and bring it back to the light of spirituality, it required a 100% sattvic power that Sri Ramakrishna came with. So the body, mind and all the different kind of many different expressions that we see in the life story of Sri Ramakrishna, it has got absolute pure sattvic aspect in all levels that we see. And that includes his physical level of existence, the physical body of him. And he himself has lamented and expressed his sadness, we can say, that at least Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could go from place to place and do Nagar Sankirtan, sing and dance and go long distances, day after day after day, many, many days, months. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could do. He mentioned only about him, but about others also we see that they also did a lot of work. What about Sri Krishna? He was not so soft as we usually read and been told many a times from his Vrindavan Leela. Vrindavan Leela is a very small portion of his life story. When he was very young, he was very young. Teenage boy, just growing up, that portion has got Vrindavan Leela. And afterwards, he was invited from the kingdom of Dwarka that he inherited, that, sir, you are the next king, so please come there. And he had to go. And that was a very different kind of a picture of Sri Krishna we see. What about Buddha? Buddha was a great spiritual powerhouse. The manifestation of pure compassion in the form of that avatar, that incarnation. But Buddha was walking from here to there, to this kingdom, to that kingdom, to that kingdom, with hundreds and hundreds of his followers, and preaching for 80 long years. What about Jesus Christ? He did not live very long, but he also was working very hard in a very austere kind of a lifestyle, not being properly supported by many different physical, comfortable amenities. So when we talk about all these other, even for them, they needed some assistance. They needed assistance. Sri Krishna came with Arjuna, who will be actually fighting the war in the battlefield and be the conduit of his teachings. In the case of Buddha, we see the Ananda is there, his main messenger, whom Buddha clearly gave the responsibility that after I am gone, then Ananda, you are the emanator of light. Atmadipo bhava. Don't be weak. Don't look upon me all the time that I will be doing everything. Henceforth, you will do. You be the leader of all this. In the case of Jesus, he also was supported by 12 wonderful disciples, but he chose Peter to be like the rock on which he will build his church. That will give and emanate the message of his love of God for the thousands years to come. For Sri Chaitanya also, he needed Nityananda Mahaprabhu to work very dynamic way. Even those incarnations that were there, about whom I am saying that they were there and they lived their life and they were physically to some extent strong enough to endure so many different kinds of activities, Sri Ramakrishna was not that strong. He was not that strong. He said that he was strong. He has mentioned that he was quite healthy, but the very intense spiritual practices that he did in Dakshineshwar Kali temple for 12 long years, that has completely shattered his physical strength. Completely, he was no more physically able to do anything. In spite of that, whatever he could, he was doing. Afterwards, as he lived for a few more decades, after his spiritual practices were over, all these different kinds of sadhanas and all these different kinds of inventing many different things that were not there available in any scripture. He has said that discoveries made here has transcended Vedas and Vedanta. He has himself has mentioned. that the visions and the realizations that I had, they have transcended Vedas and Vedanta. So after he had completed all these things, then he lived for many years, but he had to be supported physically, for which he asked the services of very pure souls such as Babu Ram or somebody who could touch his body. Others' touch would be so painful. And not only painful, the holding of the body, physical body, may not be even possible if impure souls will be touching his body. Many different incidents are there when impure souls have suddenly touched his feet, then how much pain he had, and all sorts of things, those instances and stories are there. So, Sri Ramakrishna, he had to have somebody who will be there. And when God incarnates and comes on earth, takes a human birth, then he comes with a proper plan. It is not that suddenly, accidentally he has dropped from the sky and appeared before us. He comes with a plan, he comes with a reason. And as I mentioned, that when Sri Ramakrishna came, that was the darkest phase of the human civilization. When we say that, we have to understand that it was not the darkest phase that day when Sri Ramakrishna was born. He had come preparing for how to tackle the darkest day that are approaching for the human civilization. Darkest in the spiritual sense. Otherwise, if it is animal kingdom, then nothing, everything is dark. It is about spiritualization of the soul, about having a purpose, spiritual goal in life. When we talk in that context, then there is darkness, there is light, there is growing from tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Then only the idea of tamasa and jyoti, etc., it happens. If it is not spiritual, nothing to do with spiritual, it is only just because you are helplessly, you are born, you have to live a life and one day you will die. In between, you try your luck, stay healthy, have enough food, and procreate, and try to be happy. People call it enjoyment. Enjoy like that. That is nothing to do with light and darkness. There, in that part of the creation, when the souls are in many different kinds of species of creatures moving around, wandering everywhere, there is no such thing as darkness or light or anything. Everything is equally dark. But when it is a human civilization, then there is a purpose. And that purpose is about God realization. Worldly, the soul must be progressing. And that is about the question of light and darkness. And in that state of affair, when the divine, that which is watching as unmanifest into this world of manifestation where human beings are also there, he is watching very carefully and cautiously and eagerly if everything is going on the right direction. And when he sees that the direction has gone wrong already. In some Western movies, the horses, they suddenly go astray and take the carriage to ravines and ditches and all these things. Like in Kathopanishad also has been mentioned that what happens if the horses are not trained and etc. are not under control. Kathopanishad also says, not only Western movies. Then the power, the authority who was watching, he becomes concerned and he sees that the things are going absolutely to disaster. And that is the darkness. And what is disaster? In the Western sense, the disaster was going all out for materialism. Think of the European Renaissance period. There were many different cultural renaissance and literature and art and all these things, but the scientific inventions and development and technology and all these things. And gradually people who were very afraid in this Western hemisphere of everything, and therefore they could be continuously been told from the pulpit of churches that be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Religion is all about be very careful and afraid and listen to us, otherwise or else, etc., etc. They suddenly saw that nothing to be afraid of. We have understood how it works, how we can control the nature, everything, and gradually everything is in our control. We don't have to worry about anything. Material civilization of human society was headlong rushing towards materialism. That means how to have a very pleasurable life led in this world. It is doable, it is possible. Don't worry, we are making progress, everything will be in our control. And sense pleasure with the five senses is the purpose of our life. Human life is what else? That became the mantra. And other side, those who were still sticking to or holding on, clinging on to the religion was all about dogmatic belief system and fanatic practices. That's it. You just accept it, dogmatically hold on and be very fanatic, extreme fanaticism. That is the meaning of religion. What is the meaning of God? God is the meaning that you are on the side of the God, or else there is other powers are there, they will catch you and eat your soul up. That's it. And forever you will be thrown into hellfire. This kind of meaning of religion. Out of fear only you go to those religions. So this is the Western direction of religion. Either religion or no religion. And religion gets this kind of meaning. And in the East, East means basically India-centered East. Because all the Eastern religions, they were deeply, deeply influenced by the religious great inventions that were happening in India from time to time, on account of the practice and the policy of religious tolerance that was there in India. There was the possibility of more and more new spiritual inventions coming, experiments, and therefore from time to time the messengers of God or a part messengers of God, etc., they came in India because they are not tortured or burnt at stake or crucified, or there is not Holocaust or the holy war. Except the word holy, there is nothing holy there. These things were not there. And therefore, yeah, they might hate you. They may say, yeah, it is not religion. What these Shaktas are doing, it is not religion. Vaishnavism is the real religion. And Vaishnavism and the others are saying similar thing to them. Except that they are not killing each other. They are not. So that is the India-specific Eastern religion. What was the religion then when Sri Ramakrishna was coming? Religion was either it is about the intelligent analysis of the scriptures. The Pandits, how they could analyze and explain different hair-splitting meaning of a certain particular word or a portion of a certain word, and therefore it is not your meaning, it is this meaning, etc. That was religion. Those who could give more explanation, better explanation, or really interesting, intelligent analysis, they will be called the authority of religion, great Pandits. Nyaya Panchanan, Tarkachanchu, this, that, authorities, and they will be the leader of the society, and everybody should follow only them. They know everything. Why? Because they know the meaning of a certain word. It is this way, and they are only continuously arguing among themselves. This is one kind of religion that was very glorified, very glorified. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before he became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was greatest in his part of the land as the top Nyaya Pandit. He was Pandit of Nyaya philosophy. Wherever he will go, he will defeat any other Pandit so easily. And all the different Pandits, they will just quickly run away. If they will hear that Nimai Pandit is coming, then they will disappear. Otherwise, they will be defeated in front of their people in the society, and they will be losing their prominence in the society. So Pandits were afraid of Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit was that powerful. So that was one kind of religion. And another kind of religion, when we have to think about when Sri Ramakrishna was coming, that another kind of religion was ritualistic and superstitious. There was a lack of genuine love of God, and what now we understand after Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda's explanation, that the genuine love of God comes only to those who have got renunciation. That means who have turned themselves away from the attraction of the five senses. The worldly attraction is left behind, then it is called renunciation. What is renunciation? Renunciation doesn't mean that you have to show something. It is internal. When a person is not really seeking or asking sense pleasures, they fall behind because they have found something superior. That is the joy of love of God. Then that is the meaning of religion according to now, as we understand in the Vedanta, all the different kind of literature. But that was not there. That was not there. When Sri Ramakrishna came, it was hard to find. You may argue that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like that. Was he not? Yes, he came. But that was already 400-500 years old. And then the enthusiasm of love of God was slowly fading away. and it was all about fanatic, sect-based, maintaining their grounds, wherever they were having their importance. So, the fanatic, sect-based, ritualistic practices and all those other scholarly show of scriptures explanation that remained in the name of religious practices in India specifically after 1000 years of remaining under the rule of foreign religious leaders. It was 700 to 800 years of Muslim rulers and then about 200 years of European rulers. And therefore, the people there, the original people following Hinduism, they were gradually going down and down and down, and they were poor, and they were, poverty brings everything else. Like they are not properly educated, they are not clothed, they were just surviving. And in that condition, the religion had been gone down the drain and become like that. When Sri Ramakrishna came, that is the direction it was going down. So when Sri Ramakrishna came, he had to come with 100% sattvic personality. The maximum effort or power. It had another dimension also. Because of the technological development, the whole world was approaching to become a global village, which we have been calling it about some time back even. Nowadays people don't talk about it, but it has almost become like that. That you don't find any difference from place to place or people to people, everybody is very close to each other. Even if they are sitting somewhere else, but they are not really. With the help of information technology and social, all those activities. So, approaching that world, the God had to incarnate with a different kind of responsibility. On one hand, to bring the revolution in the mindset of all people, East and the West, because God incarnates not for a small area. His job is for everybody. He starts from one place, but eventually it will flood everything. Every nook and corner of the world, and all people's heart will be touched by that new message, new thought, and influencing. So he had to come for the whole world. He had to prepare for the Western thought and for the Eastern thought, and their religious understanding, whatever they were doing at that time, had to be revolutionized. And then he had to, because they are approaching so fast towards each other, he had to develop the clarity in the minds of all of them that it is just one idea, one religion, one purpose, one goal, and we call it now as harmony of religions. He had to develop that. Develop that means he has to establish that and display it. Establishing with the help of his own personal practice and realization. And then deliver it to the rest of the world and how to implement it. Even at home, it was not easy. Think about Dvaita, Visishtadvaita, Advaita. They appear so very different, and they were being practiced as absolutely different paths. Those who are following the dualistic path, they won't believe that the non-dualist is real, or it is the right thing to do. Those who are doing non-dualism, they will look down everybody else as they are superstitious and ignorant people. And all sorts of things were there, and they were completely accepted. We have to now, as I mentioned, be thankful to Swami Vivekananda, etc., that nowadays we don't think like that. Nowadays the clarity has come on account of the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and on account of those teachings being disseminated to everywhere with the help of Swami Vivekananda and the organized way that the message has been spread all around, that these are not different things. These are different steps you move forward, and these are according to your liking and your suitability. You pick from somewhere, but you will reach the same goal, don't worry. This kind of mindset, which is called the harmony of religions, that had to be established. That had to be established, and that had to be put in place for successfully implementation. Sri Ramakrishna could not do that. It was not possible for Sri Ramakrishna to do that. So Sri Ramakrishna had to bring somebody. And Narendranath was that he brought. So this is what we find in that life story of Sri Ramakrishna, that after the period of his intense spiritual practices, when one after another realization of the supreme truth in those different practices, different sects followed within the Vedic religion and some of the foreign religion that had come into India at that time and was existing around him, after going through them and he realizing the supreme truth everywhere, then he was so very comforted. Until then he was very living a life of very restless, you may say, at the least. Restless, occasionally anguished. Why I cannot realize this truth? How I can, etc., etc. So intense anguish and very restless, and where he was not looking around. The world did not exist in his mind, in his world. He was only thinking about God alone, that's it. But after everything was settled, as we call it, dust settled, and he was calm, then he again became restless. This restlessness was then about how I shall be delivering this, my message. I have this wonderful message, and this is the message, and it is the time for this message to be delivered. I need a delivery system. Those days there was no Uber, Eat or any such thing. Something, social media, digital, nothing was there. So he had a delivery system needed, and he became so anguished that he has himself said that every evening he would then go up the rooftop of the office of Mathur Babu, and then from there, looking towards Calcutta, he will say, "Where are you? When are you coming? Please come. I cannot wait anymore. When will you come?" One more day has passed. Then one by one many came. Many great pundits and great spiritual teachers of his time. They started coming. Gauri Pandit, Padmalochan, Vaishnav Charan, Sasadhar Tarka Chudamani, etc., etc. They were the traditional great pundits of his time. They are not his spiritual teachers. That is a different time. they came who were very influential in teaching people in their field of disseminating the wisdom. Then came the others like Keshav Chandra Sen, Pratap Majumdar, Vijay Goswami, Sadhu Nag Mahasaya, etc., etc. They were different class of Pandits and influences, spiritual teachers. They started coming. And then came many, many others who were not necessarily teachers in the society. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikh, other many different followers of different religions, they started coming, and then started coming the young generation of his chosen, hand-picked disciples, the young ones. One after another, they started coming. This is the time when, at another part of the city, this young man, Naren, he was becoming restless also. When here Sri Ramakrishna became very restless, that he wanted to quickly disseminate whatever wonderful treasure trove of spiritual wisdom he has now in his command. He has discovered everything. When God appears in human body, then he willfully comes with a cover of Maya. And to break open that cover, then he does spiritual practice, an intense spiritual practice. He cries for Mother, why not you are showing yourself, etc., etc. And then after removing the screen, then he comes out in the open, and then he wants to deliver that to the people so that it becomes meaningful, whatever he has been doing from beginning till now. From his coming on earth to doing all this intense spiritual sadhana and whatever they have discovered, to make it worthwhile, it is meaningful, then he needs people to come to him and he will tell. Otherwise he has to go from place to place like Buddha did or Chaitanya did or others did. Sri Ramakrishna could not go anywhere because, as I mentioned, so he became very anguished in his heart. He has said, oh, I cannot tell you how restless I was. He has mentioned later on, thinking that when they will come to me, for whom I am waiting for. Sri Ramakrishna going into deep bhav samadhi, and because he could go now and then into Nirvikalpa samadhi and coming back from there and Nirvikalpa samadhi, he could become one with the cosmic mind in deep bhav samadhi. And being one with the cosmic mind, he would be seeing and knowing the past, present and future of each and everybody at his free will. He will know what is happening, what is going to happen, who is going to come, or who is coming of what particular caliber, what is the future of this person, how much he will be useful in this mission, this job, everything. So, we have seen this kind of activity in the case of many of his followers and disciples, when they came and how he dealt with them, how he communicated with them, talked to them. But he had very clear understanding in all these cases. Whenever he would like to, he would have it. Sometimes he won't be, because he is not interested. So he was waiting for Narendranath. And that is the time when Narendranath himself was becoming restless and asking people, sir, have you seen God? Like that. So those who know about the Narendranath life story, that how he was born in that old part of the very important neighborhood of Calcutta, the North Calcutta, it is called Simulia or Simle. And there, in a comparatively wealthy or well-to-do family. Father was High Court attorney Vishwanath Datta and mother Bhuvaneshwari. There, how he was born, many of you have already read about it or heard about it, that when the couple had 6 daughters, the mother became very anxious of having a son also born to them. And therefore she decided, and she was a very, very religious-minded lady, both father and mother, but mother was mostly. And she decided that I have to worship Lord Shiva specifically and pray for a son to be born. So there was one old lady, a relation of Datta clan, living in Benares. So she was sent the message that could you please arrange for worshipping Lord Shiva every Monday. So wherever she was living, nearby there was Bireshwar Shiva temple. Those of you who have visited Benares and seen the Bireshwar Shiva, they have seen that place. It is a very, very ancient Shiva temple. There is a Shiva in the middle and 12 Shivalingas are surrounding it. That is there. And those of you who have read from the life story of Swami Akhandanandaji, perhaps they will remember that Swami Akhandanandaji once was in Alambazar monastery. He was in the middle of the night, he was lying, and in the bed on the side, Narendranath was there, Vivekananda. Before Belur Math, there was first it was Baranagar Math, and then when they had a little more money, Swamiji first returning back from America, it was Alambazar Math. So there they were lying, sleeping. Middle of the night, Akhandanandaji, Gangadhar, suddenly his eyes opened and he saw the whole room was lit up with it was glowing. He said, "Oh, what is this glow?" It was not, no electrical light or anything was there those days. And he said, why it is room is glowing? And then he turned and saw that the light was emanating from the body of Naren. Swami Vivekananda said, and Naren is surrounded by 12 Shivalingas, 12 tiny Shivas surrounded. Whole thing is glowing. And Naren did not know, he is sleeping. So this Bireshwar Shiva was being worshipped by that lady every Monday. And here in Calcutta, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, she was having special austerity, maybe fasting and half day, and then doing special puja of Lord Shiva every Monday. So simultaneously these two things happening. And Bhuvaneshwari Devi strongly believed and was fully convinced that Lord Shiva will listen to her prayer. So after 1 year, Bhuvaneshwari Devi had a vision. And in that vision, she saw, in the sleep, she had a vision. She saw that Lord Shiva has come in the form of light and entered into her. He is coming as her son. And she got up. She was feeling very blessed and blissful, but did not believe it, thought that it was her imagination. So much intensely she was seeking for a son to be born to her. That's why she thought like that. She thought. But in course of time it was realized that no, she is already conceived and she is going to give birth to a child, and that was Narendranath. This Narendranath, from childhood we see so many miraculous things happening to him. Like he always would go to sleep and he will find that the sleep precedes, and he will be sleeping on his chest. Very strange kind of. Narendra did everything strange from his boyhood days. So lying on his chest, he will lie, and then he will find that there is, as soon as he will close his eyes, there will be a spot of light in the middle of his two eyebrows. It is very colorful light. Many different colors will be there. It is not white light. And he will be fascinated watching this light, and this light will grow and grow and go round and round and round and grow, and then it will burst into a shower of white light in which he will be fully drenched, and he will lose the outer consciousness. That is the meaning of sleeping. He is going to sleeping. So this boy Narendranath, for a long time he thought that is, sleep means that. Everybody goes to sleep, they see a light, and then. So later on he asked his classmates. He was a small boy, so in school he asked his classmate, do you see light in your forehead when you go to sleep? And everybody said no. Then Narendra was so surprised and shocked, and he said that, no, you'll see that, you pay attention to that. He taught his other classmate how to see the light in the forehead, because that is so simple and easy. Just close your eyes, but don't forget, pay attention to you. That kind of thing he said. Later on we find when he went to Sri Ramakrishna and his second visit, Sri Ramakrishna touched him, and before that he asked him, do you see a light in the center of your eyebrows when you go to sleep? He asked. Sri Ramakrishna asked him. And Narendranath said, yes. When he was grown up, it was not a regular all the time that it will be happening. When he was a boy, it was a regular thing. In grown up, when he will be thinking of it, it will happen. So he said yes. And Sri Ramakrishna beamed with joy and told everybody, you see, everything is matching with what I thought. Did I not? Etc. And he says, he is a Dhyan Siddha. He is a Dhyan Siddha. He is already established in meditation. Did I not tell you? You see? Yeah. So this Narendranath, who was Dhyan Siddha, from his childhood, his most favorite play was sitting in front of an image. First it was Ram Sita, then it was Lord Shiva, and then meditating. That was what he liked. And in deep meditation he will be lost so much so that one day there was a cobra appearing, and then all the other boys with whom he will be playing this meditation. For everybody else it was a play. And they had to play like that because Naren was a natural leader of the pack. So if Naren says, let us play like this, everybody had to. But they saw the snake and they ran, screamed and all sorts of things, and they called all the elders of the house to come. But Narendra said he did not even know what had happened. He said he did not hear any scream, he did not know. And the snake suddenly disappeared. So this Narendranath, because of his pure body and mind, and very strongly attracted towards spiritual everything, and he was very, very rational minded and was given all freedom by his parents, especially his father, very liberal, do whatever you like to do, that's fine. So he became attracted towards the Brahmo Samaj, and he went there and he liked everything that Keshav Chandra Sen was talking about, or any other teachers of the Brahmo Samaj at that time. In that Brahmo Samaj, it was called Sadharani Brahmo Samaj, General Assembly, General Brahmo Samaj. he was very interested in there because it made sense. Everything else, like a regular Hindu religion, just you follow certain things, don't ask any question, and it appeared to him like it is not meaningful or no explanation is there, so superstitious. So he was following Brahmo religion. Everything he believed in Brahmo Samaj, everything he liked except one, and that except was because in his mind everything must have a proof to show. So only saying that there is God, and in Brahmo Samaj God is God without any form but with attributes or qualities. He says that, is there any proof that there is a God? Because when he was growing up, eventually he went there when he started asking this question. And he could not find a satisfactory answer from anywhere, and he became very restless to find the answer. And this answer eventually, as we know, he found from Sri Ramakrishna. But in the meantime, he did not go to Sri Ramakrishna suddenly. He saw Sri Ramakrishna even before going to Dakshineshwar in Surendranath Mitra's house, where Sri Ramakrishna was invited and he was there. Narendranath was also invited to sing, and Narendranath was singing, and Sri Ramakrishna very much, he went into a kind of a bhav samadhi, and he told Narendranath, please come to Dakshineshwar and see me. But it took some time before he went to Dakshineshwar. That was the first time he saw Sri Ramakrishna. But even before he saw Sri Ramakrishna there, he was told about Sri Ramakrishna by Professor Hasty in General Assembly School, where he was a student. There, this Professor Hasty was a very well-known, a very learned person. He was already famous because of his authority and his visiting many different universities in Europe and other places. One day, the English professor, his professor of English literature, was absent. So principal came to the class. And when he came to the class, he was teaching from the English literature, and there was the passage that were to be read and explained was from Wordsworth, and in the while talking about Wordsworth, Professor Hasty talked about that the Wordsworth has said here that if someone can think very intensely about the grandeur of the nature, then his mind could be lost in a trance. That is what he said. He said that his outer consciousness, experience of the everything else outside, would be lost. This is what Wordsworth is saying here. So most of the students in the class, they simply said, sir, what is this trance? And they say, oh, trance means he will lose his consciousness. And they could not understand it. Boys did not understand it. They have never seen this kind of thing. They say, what is trance? Yeah. The man becomes unconscious? No, he is not unconscious, but his mind gets lost in the thought of the nature because he is deeply thinking. When different way he tried to explain, but boys were not understanding, then he said, well, to understand it, you have to see somebody in that situation, and the best person that I know of is Sri Ramakrishna of Dakshineshwar Kali Temple. If you see him, you will know, because he occasionally goes into deep thought of divine, and he loses the outer consciousness. So Narendra heard about Sri Ramakrishna there first, before even going to Surendranath's house and seeing Sri Ramakrishna first time, where Sri Ramakrishna invited him to come to his will. But it took months before he actually went to Dakshineshwar, because his father was eager to get a suitable match for Narendra. Narendra was getting old, 17, 18, 19 years old. How long you will be waiting? It is old enough to marry, to get married. So there were many families, they were trying to have the connection and contacts. So the parents, they were pressing Narendranath for marriage, and Narendranath says no. And many different ways, friends and family members, they tried to convince him that no, that is the right thing, don't be shy and don't be, etc. Don't be afraid, this is the right age, you should marry. And he said, no way, I am not going to marry. Then Ramchandra Datta, who was their relative of these Dattas, Ramchandra Datta and Surendranath Mitra, who was the family friend, they told him that, well, because they understood why he is reluctant to marry or refusing to marry, because he has got a spiritual quest. His spiritual quest, desire for spiritual realization, experience is so genuine that he doesn't want to enter into the matrimony. So Ramchandra Datta and Surendranath Mitra, they told him that, well, if that is what you want a first-hand spiritual experience, then don't waste your time in this Brahmo Samaj, prayer and all these things and lectures and all this. Don't waste time here. Ramchandra Datta was already following Sri Ramakrishna. He was going there. He knew what Sri Ramakrishna was and how he could help people who are genuinely spiritually oriented. Surendranath also. So they advised Narendranath, don't waste your time in this superficial religious practices. This singing, prayer, and this so-called meditation, etc. This is not going to help you in what you are asking for. If you are serious about spiritual realization, then go and see Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. Then Surendranath Mitra arranged for Narendranath to first go there. So tonight I will stop here because tomorrow also we have got some time. We shall go from there. By the way, tonight's topic was that Narendranath accepted the job. I have not gone there yet. We shall go there tomorrow. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Panamastu.
Swami, thank you so much for the beautiful talk. I have a couple of questions. I'll try to mix them into one. So first of all, we know from one side that whatever happens is God's will. Not even leaf moves without God's will. On the other hand, it seems that society time and again starts deteriorating spiritually, and God has to come. So why does this happen? I can guess us an answer, but why does this happen? And the second part is Chaitanya Dev took avatar in a place in Mayapur in West Bengal, in India. And then just within about 400, 500 years, God again decides to come down and comes down to Calcutta, which is not very far from Mayapur. So why did God have to come as avatar in almost the same place within
First of all, these questions should be asked to God himself, because why he did so. The first question that the whole human mind, whether it is Western or Eastern, they are going down, 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 down. So is it not God's will? This is the question. If it is God's will, nobody is responsible for it. And again, God has to come back to again bring everything back on track or rectify it. This is the thing which is therefore answered in this simple word Leela. That it is God's Leela, He is playing like that. He is playing. So, when there is some verse in Mahabharata, I think, of Duryodhan, when he was dying, that Janami dharmam nachame pravitti, janamyadharmam nachame nivritti, Tvaya hrishikesha hridisthitosi yatha karosmi yatha juhosmi tatha karomi. Something like that. Second line, I am not remembering correctly. That whatever is dharma, I know, but I don't have the interest in walking on the path of dharma. And whatever is adharma, that also I know. But I cannot stay away from them. But O Hrishikesha, you are in my heart, you are sitting in my heart, you are directing me in whichever direction, I am going there. I am doing only that. So, saying this verse, actually Duryodhan is blaming Krishna, that you are to be blamed. If I have done anything wrong, I am not to be blamed, it is your problem. So people, they get drunk and they say, yeah, I knew that it is bad. but they still keep drinking and they ruin their family and their own individual life. People, intelligent people and very highly educated and very accomplished people, they get to the addiction of gambling. So many stories have been published that how a wonderful, wonderful family and everything went into complete ruin because of the addiction of gambling. Now, many different things happens in the world. So, those people who walk on the path of negativity or their own ruin, could they blame God for that? Sri Ramakrishna says that yes, God has created all these kind of different problems, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Madhumatsa, etc. It is God's will that man's personality has got all those things. But think about it. Those who could fight against them and win, out of that struggle, God creates great souls. Those who could struggle and win against the lust, against the greed, against anger, those who win over them. Why God has given all these things? Because by winning over them, by virtue of a great, wonderful struggle, occasionally great souls come out. And the rest of the world, they look at them and they cheer. They say, yeah, something has happened. Somebody has come out, Raman Maharshi or somebody, through many, many lives of wonderful struggle, now some great firework has happened of a wonderful life. This is why. So we cannot blame anything. If it is God's creation, yeah, it is called Leela, it is play. In Bengali, Sri Ramakrishna says, Jotila Kutila na hole Leela postai hoy na. So in the Bhagavatam, there are the characters of Jotila and Kutila. So how they are playing tricks and trying to harass boy Krishna. But Sri Ramakrishna says that if there are no such characters as Jotila and Kutila, then the whole story of Sri Krishna will not be that interesting. That's why. So your answer is okay.